he said, "You are a Muslim." I was quite astonished. He said, "No, it never occurred to me to be a Muslim. I am not." He says, "Oh yes, you are a Muslim, only you don't know it." I was in Afghanistan, in Herat, western Afghanistan, and I rode in late autumn over the Hindu Kush mountains to Kabul. It was a journey of about 20 or 25 days on horseback, very hard journey. And on one occasion, my horse lost a shoe. So I was obliged to go off my road to a village nearby and had the shoe replaced by a smith. It happened so that the district governor there learned of the visit of a foreigner and invited me to spend the evening and the night in his house. He was a very friendly man. At that time I spoke Persian fluently after nearly 2 years in Persia and in Afghanistan. The conversation was easy. We were sitting after dinner and talking about various things, and naturally we came to talk about Islam. And I spoke quite bluntly to him. I told him, "You Muslims are a very strange people. You have the best ethical guidance possible in the Quran. You had the best guide in your Prophet Muhammad. How is it that you have abandoned the ways recommended in the Quran and by the Prophet and have fallen into such a decadence? Why are you acting in so many ways against the precepts of the Quran?" And so it went on discussing. At the end, he looked at me and he said, "You are a Muslim." I was quite astonished, and I said, "No, it never occurred to me to be a Muslim. I am not." He says, "Oh yes, you are a Muslim, only you don't know it. One day you will come to know it."
Could you describe for us the actual event of your becoming a Muslim and how that took place?
Yes. After my return from my second long journey to the Muslim world, I was living in Berlin and started reading the Quran in translation because my Arabic was still insufficient to read it in its original language. And one day we were traveling in the underground in Berlin, and this was in the year 1926. It was a year of great prosperity in Central Europe after years of misery and inflation. And all people were well-dressed, and well-fed apparently, but it appeared to me that their faces were not happy. And I looked from one to the other and saw there is unhappiness in these people. They are oppressed. And I turned to my wife, who was, by the way, a painter and accustomed to observe faces, and I said, "What do you think of the faces of these people?" And she said, "They are unhappy." Same impression she had. When I came home, I could not explain to myself why it was, because, as I said, it was a prosperity year in Central Europe. I happened to find an open copy of the German translation of the Quran on my desk, which I had left before going out. And I took it up, and the first my eye came upon was a surah, Al-Haakum Takathru, which in German is, "You are obsessed by," I'm translating it now into English, "You are obsessed by striving for more and more until you go down to your graves." Oh, you would, if you would but see it, and again, if you would see. And then you will see one day that you are in hell. And on that day you will be asked, what did you do with the boon of life? It came to my mind that this is the illustration of our present modern life. People are unsatisfied, wanting more and more material goods, are unhappy, and they do not see that they are living in hell now. And God says in this verse, in this surah, one day you will see hell with the eye of certainty, and then you will be asked, what did you do with the boon of life? And I was so struck by it, by this coincidence of finding this surah as an explanation of what I had seen previously in the underground train. I told myself, how is it possible that a man living 1400 years ago had composed a book describing the situation of today, showing us what people feel now? No human being, not the greatest genius, could do such a thing, and especially not an Arab who was unlettered, who did not know anything beyond the confines of the Arab world. No, this book must be inspired, and inspired by whom? Then I became certain that it was a revealed book. Next day, I went to the head of the Muslim community in Berlin, whom I had known superficially from before. It was an Indian Muslim gentleman by name of Abdul Jabbar Khairi, and I told him I want to become a Muslim. What shall I do? He said, it's very simple, give me your hand. And I gave him my hand and said, repeat after me, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, which I did. Says, you are a Muslim now. I said, good, accepted. And then he said, wait, your name is Leopold, Leo, lion, lion. In Arabic it is Asad. Let your name be Muhammad Asad. It never occurred to me before to change my name, but since he suggested it, I accepted it. And I said, let it be Muhammad Asad. And so I became Muhammad Asad from that day on. That was in September 1926.
Thing that you knew intuitively that an Arab could not have intellectually.
An Arab, anybody. Plato, if he had lived at that time, could not have composed a book describing the situation 1400 years later. No, not the greatest genius, Arab or non-Arab, could do it himself, by himself. And later I found in the Quran many such indications of wisdom which could not come from the human mind.